Sorry, Field, I did hear you. I'm just starting the recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Field Mcconnell in the house, everybody. So please feel free, if you have a question for Field, to raise your hand, and we will unmute your mics, and you guys can ask Field your question. If you cannot speak, there was a picture of Field's book with he and his wife on the cover. You can write your questions underneath the comment area over there, and I will go ahead and read those to him at some point in this podcast. Also, too, everybody, if you come in, excuse me, hold on, let me go back, reverse. Be careful who you listen to, who you follow, what you're putting into your mind. A lot of craziness going on out there. It's wild. A lot of distractions happening, everybody. Just stay in the stuff that's important. Pay attention to the 2020 election. I'm getting word that from a very, very good source that it is about to burst. So when that bubble bursts, it's going to get chaotic. We're already seeing chaos with the Epstein files. Everybody, what Trump did, and he baited them in the beginning, calling it a hoax. And we know there's all those redacted files and everything, and fake ones actually out there. So what Trump has done now, he has actually put the real ones out there, and we're going to see more of that come out. We've got the distraction of Savannah Guthrie. I pray, pray that her mom is found still alive, but none of that makes sense, everybody. But again, if you do your research on it, it all ties back to the Clintons. And what are we going to be seeing? Supposedly them testifying. So a lot of stuff going on, everybody, and just a lot of people just staying on the surface shit. Excuse my language, but I'm kind of over it, because like there's so much going on in the great areas, right, of what we've been told is going to happen. And I'm getting information. Maricopa County today here in Arizona, their offices have been raided, just like Georgia. So you guys, the 2020 election is about to come out. It's about to blow up. So get ready. We're here. It's here. It's already starting to happen. So between Georgia, them raiding Georgia, Maricopa, because we've been on the map. Georgia's been on the map about the fraud. It's here, everybody. It's here. So get ready. Get excited. Focus on that, because what is that going to do? That's fraudulent. And what does fraud do? It vitiates everything. So everybody get excited. Stay out of the noise. Stay out of the BS. Stay out of the black pilling crap, because that's what they want. And don't think for a second they're not going to try to distract us once this stuff comes out with another news story, because this is their playbook, guys. They create a narrative, right? They put it out there to the public. They feed the news cycle with it. They pull on your heartstrings, and this is what we focus on, right? What have we lost focus on here lately since Savannah Guthrie's mom's gone missing? All the chaos in Minnesota, what's been going on in California with the fraud being exposed, the chaos with ICE, just all of that kind of disappeared, like when the drones came out, and so many other things. But I'm using these for examples because they were so obvious, right? The drones, it was a 2-week, what are these drones freaking out? And then crickets, right? So everybody, if you can't see how this is a what's the word I'm looking for? Put together operation, planned, if you will. It's rolling out at the time it's supposed to be rolling out, everybody. So please, 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 I implore you to stay out of the noise and stop following those people that are just giving you noise. Okay, protect your mind, everybody. It's the most powerful tool in your body, and it can get twisted out there. I understand that. So just protect your mind, everybody. Also, too, if you come into the podcast late, everybody, you can follow the podcast on the podcast host. We are being listened to in over 100 countries. The podcast host and the social medias are JENNI JERREAD Facebook, at Jenny_Jereed X, at JJereed Rumble, at JJereed True Social, at JJereed Instagram, The Revival of America on Telegram right here, The Revival of America over on YouTube. Podcast hosts are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, PocketCast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. Let's see I think that's it. Yeah, that's a lot. And also too, everybody, if you have a journey or a story, please, I highly encourage all of you to stand up, speak out, be heard. Let's get your voices heard. It's time. No more fear. Let's bring it out, get your voice, your story heard, because remember, it's your voice, your story. It's going to help guide us into this new world, or the truth, right? It's gonna shape this new world we're coming into. And we will vet the stories, make sure they're legitimate, because unfortunately I do have those shysters that just want to give some kind kind of BS story to get their voices or themselves on a show, and I don't do that. So and if we do believe it's real, we will reach out to you via email and get it scheduled for you guys. Check out the website, therevivalofamerica.com. Got Fields. We have Fields big books over there. So there is a page for you guys over there on how you guys can purchase those if you guys want to purchase them. If you have questions, reach out to me, guys, at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. If you have questions for me about Fields books, about John's free scan for with your hair and nails, I'm just trying to centralize everything, everybody. It's just too hard for me to try to get back to all of you guys with all these different messages going to every different location that I'm at. So just email me again, therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. And I think that's it. But guys, I can't implore you enough. Just really, really stay out of the noise. And those people that are out there bashing people and talking smack because I'm seeing some stuff come to my direction. People screenshotting some things and stuff like that, just bad mouthing myself and some of my guests. And some of you guys might know who these individuals are. But this is what I always say. When somebody's bad mouthing you, you've got three fingers pointing back at you. Okay. I don't necessarily, I debated this or not if I was going to address it and call them out by name, but you guys know I don't do that. I'm not going to call them out by name. But just be careful because there's being some stuff put out there not so nicely about some of my guests, and it's by an individual that I'm sure many of you know. But just be careful who you follow, and that individual, you guys, if you're following that individual, you might want to double check and just be careful because when people start bad mouthing people, then it's just not a good thing. And I always say the more people the more they talk, the more they expose themselves. So I just sit back and watch. I see the stuff that's being posted. I can repost it and call them out on all my areas of platforms, but I'm not going to do that. But I am going to let you know that what you're seeing, if anything you see that's negative about my podcast, granted, haters are gonna hate. I get it, but I'm just gonna let you know I'm being told in the background by some pretty reliable sources and people you guys may know that we are on the right track. My guests that I am bringing onto the show are spot on with their game theories, with the breakdowns of things. So I'm very proud of that. I'm excited to tell you guys that because so many of you have reached out to me and just really confused of what's being put out there. Because even with the media guys, a lot of the stuff that they put out there, obviously we know is propaganda, and a lot of it isn't true. So just because we're not seeing things happen doesn't mean it's not happening behind the scenes. But we just have to really use our discernment and just really be careful. And if you have any questions about me or one of my guests, I give you guys my email plenty of times for you guys to reach out to me and ask me those questions. I'll answer them for you. But I just sit here and I see some of these screenshots and I just laugh. I shake my head because it just shows me the kind of people that really are out there. And, you got to watch for the consistency of people and their guests, what they're saying, if their messages never change, i.e. Donald Trump, right? And also the flip-floppers, the I, me, the people that need that recognition, that need that relevancy, riding on people's coattails, whatever it may be. But I'm just giving you guys a heads up. If you do see stuff like that, you want to send it to me, that's fine. We can talk about it. But I'm just letting you know that I am being told that we are on the right track. Keep pushing forward. I am bringing more guests on to tell more the guests to tell their stories because they're ready, right? They're ready to come out and share their stories. So that's very exciting. People aren't necessarily so afraid to share anymore because, we're under Donald Trump's presidency. So although we are still being censored, but again, that's why I say be careful who you follow, everybody, because even myself, some of the people that I've been following for a while, some of the things that they're saying and what's coming out about them is a little bit shocking. But again, I'm not overly shocked because I knew this was going to happen, but I stay in my lane. And that's really what we need to do. Everybody stay in our lanes and just stay focused on the prize. And what is that? That we are going to soon, very soon, guys, start seeing arrests. The 2020 is about to pop open and just the floodgates are we're about to see that happen. So you're on the right side of things, everybody. If you're in here listening to my guest, because they are giving you some great information. And many of them, i.e., the Derek Johnsons of the world, the SGNons, the Phil McConnells of the world, all of them, they're being vindicated because all of us are being vindicated, right? We've been saying the same thing. We've been screaming from the rooftops when it comes to the Epstein files years ago. And we saw the unredacted files, and now here people are coming on, jumping on that bandwagon. And that's another thing. New people, brand new people coming out talking like they have been in the movement for a while. I'm seeing a lot of that. A lot of people coming into different chat rooms, different spaces, different comment boxes. I'm not seeing them before, and they're just coming in, and their accounts were just started. So I look for all of this stuff, guys, because it's real, it's out there, and it's meant to divide us, piss us off, throw us off, and that's why they're called agitators and disruptors. So with that, everybody, Field gives us typically 90 minutes of his time, so I'm not going to take any more time, but I do want you guys to know this stuff because, it's important. I care about you guys, and that's why I do what I do with my channel, and protect it, keep it private. People have to request to come in. If you're here, we welcome you. I'm glad you're here. I recommend, obviously you don't have to stay, but if you guys leave the channel and then request to come back in, you've probably already been removed because to me, I'm not a revolving door. If you come in, great, but if you're leaving to request to come back in and you've done that a couple times, it's a red flag to me. It looks like you might be a troll. So I have to protect my audience members as well as my guests and myself because many of my guests have reached out to me, or excuse me, not my guests, but my audience members have reached out to me and said that they have been scammed. And it's because of people like that coming in and out of people's rooms and trying to get the names of the members that are in that room and emailing them, pretending to be myself, my guest, or anybody. So just know that I will not randomly reach out to you and ask you for money, ask you about cryptos, ask if you're ready for the scare event. If you get something like that, nor will my guests, please block report them and let me know so I can make sure they're not here in the chat. And typically the email will always come out, greetings, my friend. Are you ready for the scare event? Or greetings, my friend, something about crypto, something about finances. I mean, that message alone in itself is a red flag. So with that, everybody, Field's here. I'm done talking. And I want to welcome Field. Hi, Field.
Hello, hello, Jenny, and thank you for that very short introduction.
Whatever, short
and
introduction.
yeah, no, I'm kidding. That's what I really like about your podcast is first and foremost truth and consistency. I guess that's second and foremost. But anyway, also you're allowed to have a little levity. And I said levity, I didn't say Mark Levy. Um, and as far as consistency, I, I don't want to ride on your coattails, but at noon on the 11th of September, which is 9/11, I put on the internet what weapon had attacked New York and the Pentagon. And I also said who authorized the attack on America. And I haven't changed my mind. And the people that attacked America included a president, a senator, a Clinton, and my own sister. So, and that has not changed since 2011 or 9/11 of 2001, excuse me. Anyway, I'll be quiet now so other people can have their way with both of us. And I'll just I'll sit in my room and be silent until you call upon me.
Oh, you're good, Field. You're not riding on my coattails. I'm just a person that has a platform for my guests to come and tell truths, right? So I'm a nobody. I'm a somebody just like everybody here in this room, as well as the people that listen to this on the replay. I am just here doing this in my free time, to try to bring truth to people as you are, Field, in such a crazy time. And I see, how it's excited people, it's confused people, it's scared people, and that's, it's it's satisfying to be able to have people feel confident to come in here and be able to use their voices, because again, that's why I created my podcast, besides for the children, is to have people feel free to use their voices, hence my tagline: stand up, speak out, be heard. But I don't do drama. As you know, Fields, I don't bash people. I won't do that. I have my thoughts about it. I may talk to somebody like you or somebody in the background about a situation, but people like that, they bury themselves, so there's no need for me to do it. But I just want everybody here to just, because I care about you guys, because it's a thing out there, man. I see people losing their minds over things because they thought they believed this person, then they don't, or they were scammed. I understand it. Not everybody has a strong mind, and they're easily led. And but I just wanted to let people know that if you're seeing stuff like that, you're welcome to reach out to me. And many people of you have, and sent me some screenshots. It's particularly from one particular group and individual. So, but you know how that kind of stuff spreads. But I do want people to know that we are being told that we're on the right track. So that should make you guys feel a little bit more comfortable. And, I get more compliments than I do regarding the show and my guests than I don't. So I just want you guys to feel comfortable in that. And I am cleaning house in my channel here on Telegram. So if you, again, I'm not about the followers. I'm not about the money. You guys know that about me. If you guys follow me, great, on any of the platforms. If not, if you just listen to the podcast, then that's fine. That's then I'm doing my job, whether one person's listening to it or a million. So that's really what it's about, is the message. And but I am cleaning house, so you might be seeing some of these, like the participants in my room here are going down, is because I'm removing some people. And it's for good reason, because they're either disruptors, some might be, bots, whatever. We know there's bots in all these channels, trolls, just, the stuff that it is. So I just want to, address that. I don't really have to address it much, but it has come to my attention here quite a bit lately, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention and to give you guys some peace that we're on the right track. So, with that, everybody, again, this podcast isn't about my voice. You'll hear me a little bit, chime in, but there's sometimes some things that need to be addressed and talked about. But the podcast is for the people like Fields and all my other guests, and it's about you, the audience's voices. So that's what makes me different than everybody else, is that I'm not the same podcast reporting the news. My podcast is about people's voices. So Field likes Q&A. So please, if you guys have a question for Field, I would love to hear your voices and your questions. For Fields. He loves to hear from you guys as well. So, so far I have one hand that I've unmuted and two written comments. So, we'll start with Miss Cal. Go ahead, Cal. You always have great questions for us every week. Go for it.
Field. It's good to hear from you again today. I'm not sure if you remember when I spoke with you last week, I said I would chime back with you and see if you were able to find out any information on Princess Diana, if she may be related to JFK Jr. Thank you.
Well, I remember the question. I don't have the answer, but there's a person in the chat room right now named Mark Levy who might be able to chime in on the potential relationship between Princess Diana and the Kennedy family. But then, even the Kennedy family, as a standalone collection of people, they're somewhat hard to figure out because some of the most significant or vocal Kennedys go by other names. And I'm not going to name one right now, but when I say some of these Kennedys go by other names, there's a Kennedy that's been in my home in Plum City on 3 separate occasions. And, I'm just sort of like Jenny, I claim to be a nobody, but this nobody has exposed a lot of people over the last 24 years, going back to 9/11. And I'm getting more and more stuff pretty much every day. It comes from people that hear my voice on Jenny's show. Uh, in fact, I got to ask Jenny a question right now. Jenny, did I send you a YouTube of my wife, Denise, speaking with John Kerr, Kerr, and Mark Sutherland? Do you recall seeing that videotape?
No, you did not see it. Oh no, I did not see it. I don't think you sent it to me because I got a blank email from you the other day, and I think it had CC'd your caretaker on there, but there was nothing. It was an empty email, and then there was nothing. I haven't seen anything on our messaging through WhatsApp or just our regular messaging through the text messaging. So no, I have not seen it. You
Okay.
want to send it to me?
Yeah, I would like to send it to you, and I would encourage you to post it
Absolutely.
publicly. Well, it it would give everybody a world-class available or opportunity to find out what my wife Denise was like, because unlike me, she was very serious, but also like me, she was well informed, and she did not have an ego, um, which I appreciate, because egos are what typically drags otherwise good people down. And that's why I try not to show any signs of an ego. And if anybody, well, I'll give an example right now. There's a listener who's in here right now whose name is Shauna, and I reached out to her on last week's show and asked her to call me, and she hasn't called me yet, so maybe she missed my comment. But Shauna is married to Papa, and I'm hosting a small gathering of people of like minds, which means first and foremost that they listen to Jenny's show and they don't dispute information I report, like what happened on 9/11, what happened to MH370, what happened to MH17, why is Serco, SERCO, the biggest company you never heard of, why are they pretty much wholly owned by Princess William of the United Kingdom? And he, like his supposed grandmother, is not even necessarily an English person, because Prince William of the United Kingdom, his biological father was King Charles of Spain. And if they want me to be quiet, get in line, because a lot of people have tried to get me to be quiet. And some of the people probably have considered ending my life, but they know that they would be caught and dealt with. Anyway, enough about me. I really love your show, Jenny. And so whenever questions start coming in, whether they come in from Cal or Mark Levy or L-E-L-L-E, anybody with a good question and is I'm encouraging them to challenge me to see if I can answer it off the top of my head. Over to you, Jenny, and the chat room.
All right, so real quickly, Cal, we've got Mark here. His mic is unmuted. So maybe, Mark, can you help Cal with that answer? Do you know that, my friend?
I don't know anything to be factual. I can only tell you what I think, and I don't know that you care to hear what I think.
Of course we do.
Well, I think that Baron Trump's mother is Princess Diana. and Trump may or may not be the father.
Can I chime
Very
in on that?
interesting.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead, Cal.
Okay, now remember, real quickly, everybody, to my audience and everybody out there that listens to the replay, these are everybody's opinions. This is not factual, like Mark was saying. It's his opinion. And so I just want everybody to understand that out there. This is what people have, done in doing some of their research, what maybe they've come up with in their opinion. So I just want to put that out there. Go ahead, Cal.
Well, this is what I think from the research I've read about now. Is it psyops? I don't know.
Okay.
My phone. I'm having trouble with my phone. We've heard Donald Trump say in the past that he is an IVF father, or whatever it is, infertilization father. I have a feeling that, and I've also heard that Melania had to adopt Barron Trump. And so I have a feeling Diana may have carried, or her egg, or whatever, carried with Donald Trump. But Melania and Donald Trump actually are the legal parents of Barron, but it may have not been Melania's egg. It may have been Diana's.
Interesting. I've not ever heard that. What about you, Fields?
No, I haven't either. But I don't know if it was you, Jenny, but somebody was stumbling on IVF. IVF is in vitro fertilization. And so that is a key point in this conversation.
Yeah, no, I
That-
think Cal was having some mic issues.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with this new app on my phone. I'm sorry. Yes, that's what it is. And we did hear Donald Trump say that he was an IVF father at one time when we heard him talking. So I think because Barron certainly looks more like Diana than she does Melania, but he looks like Donald Trump. But I just think maybe that may be the case. But again, I don't know if that's true. And I guess we'll all find out in the end.
Yeah, we will. And this is one thing I want to put out there too. I mean, I never ever would want to take away from that, from Melania. If in fact, obviously, that is her biological son, because that would just be heart wrenching. So that's why I say this is everybody's opinion, and well, this is individuals' in opinion through this and some of the research that they've done. And Cal is correct. Trump has said that. But if you also too look at Donald Trump and you look at and a younger version of Donald Trump and Barron Trump, he's a spitting image of Donald Trump. So I don't think we can take that away from him for sure, because he looks just like Donald Trump, and you can see some resemblances of with he and Eric as well. So this is why I don't like to get into conversations like this, because I never ever want to take something as special like that away from Melania, if in fact that is her biological son, right? So yeah, it's that this for me is just a slippery slope, and I just don't like to get into these kind of conversations. But that doesn't mean you guys can't have your opinion. But I just want to make that very, very clear out there to my audience, and for those of you that will listen to the replay, these are the opinions of some of my guests here on the show right now, and the research that they have done. Although factual, what Cal said, and Field backed it up with Trump, him saying about IVF being an IVF father. So,
And I certainly wouldn't want to taint her at all either. And that's not my point. But I think some things that Donald Trump says, he's leading us somewhere. And again, it's only my opinion, and well, no one. And I just think Melania is the most wonderful first lady. But he had said also before they didn't think they could ever have a child. So I don't know what it all means. And if I'm wrong, please forgive me for ever putting something out there like that, because I would not want to be spreading misinformation. But I just think I do believe Barron looks exactly like Donald Trump, but I do think he has a look like more of Diana. But thank you so much.
thank you, Cal. No, never apologize. I mean, we've all gone down that road a time or two, right? So, we are going to find out at some point, and we're meant to do our research and question everything, right? So and that's what we do, and that's what you've done. That's what I've done. That's what many of us have done. So I appreciate you coming up here and always asking questions and giving your thoughts on whatever it is that you were talking about that day. So thank you, Cal. Thank you, Mark. All right, Mark, did you want to add to that? Or are you good? Did you have anything else? Because I know you. Okay.
I had something very special for you for this show today, and it'll only take a couple of minutes. And of course, it's factual. A lot of us obviously have had a hard time waking up family and friends for years and years and years. And I always said it starts with Satanism. If you can't convince people that what these people are capable of doing, like some of the stuff that Field has told us, try to parrot that, try to tell other people that, and they look at you like you're crazy. So you have to start with the satanic cabal. And I'm going to show you something here real quick. If everybody will grab a piece of paper, and because it'll help you wake people up. Okay. So during the 2020 election, fake Joe Biden, he had on his podium text 30330. That was his text to number, when he was campaigning. So it's 30330 if you write that down. Now, if you want to Google that, you can Google images of the 2020 election and you'll see where he had text 30330. Okay. So in 2020, what did we have? We had the coronavirus. Okay. So they use Gematria. That's what they use. The cabal uses Gematria for all their symbolisms. So if you write down Corona, Corona, on a piece of paper, and for those who don't have one and you hear the replay, you'll be able to do this. C is 3 because it's the third letter of the alphabet. So Gematria is A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, and so on. C is 3. The O is 15. Write that down. The R is 18. The O is 15 again. The N is 14. And the A is 1. Now, when you add that up, I'll save time on this one. You can add it up. It adds up to 66. Gee whiz. Corona adds up to 66. Now, Jenny, how many letters are in Corona?
Sorry, I'm responding to an email. Say that again.
Oh, okay. So there's 6 letters in Corona, right? So 666. That's where you get with Corona. Now it even gets better from here. We take the 2020 election and you divide 2020 by 666. And what do you get? Jenny, do you have a calculator there? I know the number.
Go ahead and do it. I'm responding to an email, Mark. Go ahead.
All right. So 2020 divided by 666 is 30330. Anybody want to deny that the satanic son of a guns and what they're doing? It's right there in your face. So when you go and you show people that, okay, they're part of Satan, they're the satanic cabal. And then you can begin to tell them some of the stuff Field taught you and other people have taught you about the children underground and the torturing and everything else. And they'll understand what we have been up against all this time.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. And yes, you know what? I have seen that before. I saw that way in the beginning when they were doing the whole coronavirus thing, right? And then when Biden started running for the presidency, I believe that's what it was, right? And then he had that number to text, and yeah, people were putting that together. So right there, like Mark says, if you can't see the symbolism, what is it? Symbolism is going to be their downfall, right? There you go. That is straight in our faces, everybody. So thank you for bringing that to everybody's attention that did not maybe know that, because I do see a lot of people that are starting to, like you said, wake up a little bit more to some of the stuff that we've been talking about for so long. So thank you for giving that that explanation and pretty much diagram of what that all really meant. So
Yeah, Jenny, and you're spot on with the the Guthrie psyop and the everything leading back to Clinton's. And I don't know if you know this, but the TMZ guy that they keep sending the letters
yeah,
to, yeah,
isn't that weird?
he's in the Epstein files, and Epstein calls him a good friend.
He's in the Epstein files, and again, if you go deep on that Guthrie thing, so is, I mean, her husband's mentioned in the Epstein files. So, and I thought it was just very, very weird how this TMZ guy, Harvey something, I think his name or whatever his name is, but has been the one that's been coming out reading like the ransom notes, or knows about the Bitcoin thing. Like, it's just wild, everybody. None of it makes sense. It's look here when we should be looking over there. So I just want to let you guys know. Arizona here. They are, hold on, I'm reading. It just came through on my feed. Arizona Senate audit just blew the lid off of 2020. 74,243 mail-in ballots counted with no record they were ever issued or sent. The numbers don't lie. Trump was right. Trump was right, and he was the winner of Arizona. Congress rubber stamped a massive fraud, and the cover up is finally cracking wide open. America deserves the truth. The steal happened, and we're not letting it slide. So, everybody, we are in now the process of the 2020 election. Finally, oh my gosh, I just got the chills, being exposed to the public, guys. So, this is super huge and exciting. So, buckle up, everybody. We're in it. All right, go ahead, Miss Lori.
Well, happy Friday the 13th. Thank you so much, Jenny and Field, for everything. And I'm glad to be here. I wanted to check in because I think it was a couple weeks ago, Field, you had mentioned there was going to be significance with February 1st and February 11th. So I was wondering if there was anything you wanted to bring up or expound upon in relation to that.
Go ahead, Field. That's for you.
I'm sorry, I didn't have my blue button pushed. Maybe you need to have younger guests, but then I don't know if they know much compared to older guests. But no, I know that February 1st was a key date because that's when some financial significance was going to occur. And what I'm alluding to is that Donald Trump had authorized the release of some financial handcuffs to let the American people get remunerated, which is a snobby college boy term. But what remunerate means is paid back. And that was supposed to start by February 1st. And then it was supposed to near completion at about this time, which is Friday the 13th. But they used the date of February 11th. And the information I'm getting is coming secondhand from the Intel Dinar Chronicles, which has been fairly, it's been very consistent lately in the last, say, 3 to 6 months about using the same key dates for what's going to occur. And I certainly hope that these financial enhancements that are going to start here in the United States with a global currency reset, or also it's called the RV, revaluation, and it's going to spread around the world, and it's going to be done in large part by President Donald John Trump. And I think that it would help people understand Donald John Trump's family background if they knew something about who his biological father was. And I think there's plenty of people who know that, but it's a shame that not everybody in America knows it. And Donald John Trump is not trying to do things just for the American citizens. He's trying to do things for the global citizens. And that should be evident by what what is being presented for the public consumption. And so I already forgot what the question was. Oh, I know, it was February 1st and February 11th. Yeah, those are key dates. And that stuff, the progress of the distribution of the restitution and rem, whatever the other word is, remedial act, we're going to have some very large and lucrative enhancements to our income. Speaking for us, that's poor English grammar. Speaking for we, the citizens of America, but Donald John Trump is not just the president of the United States of America. It's my opinion that he's the leader of the reconstituted global community, and that he wants all of us in the global community to be made whole again financially. And that would seem like a task that was too big to accomplish. No, it's not. If you just took a look at how much gold came out of the Vatican vaults, that was measured in the hundreds of trillions. And many Americans don't know what a trillion is. So let me educate those Americans who don't know what a trillion is. It's a trillion is 1,000 billion, and a billion is 1,000 million, and a million is a lot of money. That's why they have the term millionaires, as if it's something worth pursuing. Well, you can pursue it, but pursuing it and achieving it are two different things. So I'll just be quiet now and let Jenny take control of her podcast, but I'll be available for any inputs or if I hear something that I don't believe is correct, I might just ask for an F-bomb alert from Jenny. Jenny, over to you.
You're funny, Field. Did that answer your question, Lori?
That was great. We're on the right track. I love it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome.
All right. Oh, where'd Grace go? Grace, where'd you go? I was calling on you next. Okay. So let's see here. We don't have any more hands up. So if anybody has any questions for Field, please feel free to raise your hand. I do want to read a couple comments here to you, Fields. Here's one from John S. It says, "Thanks, Jenny and Field, for everything you do. Very much appreciated. God bless you." And then Kathy Ann says, "Thanks, Jenny and Field, for all that you both do for the community." So thank you guys for your nice comments. God bless you guys. And of course, we're here for you guys, everybody, because as many of you guys know, I have a day gig, and we don't have to do this, but this just goes to show you how much we care about you guys, our country, and the truth. So, Miss Grace is back. So go ahead, Miss Grace. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Grace.
I'm driving, so I'm so sorry. Can y'all hear me, Jenny?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll make it quick. Field, I know that you've talked in the past about the MH370 flight. What happened to the passengers on that flight?
They were all dead when the aircraft landed at Diego Garcia, and there were 227 passengers, and there were 12 crew members, so there were 239 corpses. And I really appreciate that question at this time, because there's a guy out there named Ashton Forbes who has gotten a large corporation to fund a search for the remains of MH370. That is a huge fraud and a financial crime because MH370 never crashed in the South Pacific. It was exploded over Donetsk, Ukraine on the 14th of December. Excuse me. I'm not good with dates. I don't have any notes in front of me. This is all off the top of my head. But it was the 17th of July of 2014 when MH17 was exploded, and that's what happened to all 239 corpses from MH370, as well as 40 plus corpses of recently killed Caucasians who had their blood removed, sucked out of their bodies. And I was an airline pilot for 31 years, and I never ever saw a passenger get on board any of my flights anywhere in the world that didn't have blood in their body. It just doesn't happen. So I think that Ashton Forbes probably ought to be quiet from this point forward because he's trying to create a narrative based on a falsehood. MH370 never crashed in the South Pacific. It was shot down over it was blown up by pre-placed explosives over Donetsk, the Ukraine. And there was a local lady who responded with a video camera to the scene where the bulk of the aircraft fuselage settled into the ground, and she got video of a lot of the corpses, and some of them were partially decomposed. And when a human who is not a black human, but like a white or a yellow or a brown human, when someone becomes partially decomposed, they turn black. And this lady who was talking to her video camera while she was shooting evidence said, "This is odd because a lot of these people that are victims fall into two groups. One, partially decomposed white people, and two, Caucasians that are devoid of blood." And, if I know this stuff, and I've known it since 2014, how come we're in 2026 and it hasn't been dealt with? Over to you, lady who's driving, and ask that question, or Jenny, whoever has the opportunity to take over.
Go ahead, Grace. Did that answer your question, my friend?
Hey, Jenny, it did. And thank you, Phil. I have one more, if I could, really quick. It kind of piggybacks that. Phil,
Yeah.
this is Grace. We've spoken before. The question is, so what about the passengers? And you might have covered this in the past, but I can't always get on because I'm a mom of four and I own a business with my husband and I'm just super busy. But with that being said, I love Jenny. I love what you're doing, Jenny. And Phil, you're an icon. You're so amazing. God bless you both. But what happened to the passengers that were in the planes for 9/11, but we know those planes did not hit the buildings, but we know they got rid of the people. Did they, I just don't understand how they take all these people and just well, do you know what actually happened to those blessed passengers that were on those planes or supposed to be on those planes on 9/11? And thank you again.
Hang on. You're asking too complex a question. The answer is quite simple. the four airliners, which were United 93, United, let me think of what it was. Uh, that's the one that hit the big trade tower first. And the name escapes me because of my impending dementia. But then American 11 and American 175, there's the one that I was missing. It was American 175. All of those passengers died, with the exception of United 93, which went down near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, with all of their passengers dying during the crash. The other three aircraft were taken to, and people will want to write this down and look it up, Google it. Whiskey, which is W, Whiskey 386 Alpha Airspace, which is the location about 60 miles east of Norfolk, where those airliners with live passengers were taken and intentionally blown up so as to leave no trace of the aircraft or the passengers. And I've been saying this since 9/11 of 2001. And I've maybe somebody should have silenced me long ago, but it's sort of too late to silence me now because I'm 76 years old and God can silence me anytime he chooses. And I would submit to God's instruction. But as far as people like the cabal and the billionaires and the Clintons, they can come to Plum City and line up at high noon, and I will drop my pants and they can walk by and kiss my ass. I'm not changing my story or my testimony just to please you criminals. Thank you very much for both questions, and I think your name was Grace. I'm not sure, but I'm going to turn it back over to Jenny.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Grace. Did that answer all your questions, sweetie?
It did. Thanks, Jenny. I just have to say this or else I'm going to feel like I'm not being the warrior for Jesus that I am. Everything, every time I hear it, anything about this stuff, it never surprises me, but it's just so sad and disgusting. And these people are just such evil demons. And I just pray that someday all of it is just eradicated, and I rebuke it all, and God bless you both. It's just so sad what they've done to just innocent bystanders that are just trying to, go to a business meeting or go see their family or visit grandma. They just took them somewhere and blew them up. It just such disregard for human life and for God. And I pray every day that this ends soon. Thank you. I just had to say all that, or I felt like I wouldn't be the human that I am with the soul, that we don't acknowledge how just evil and twisted and satanic it all is. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Grace. God bless you, my friend. Drive safe. All right, let's see. We've got Stephanie. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Thank you, Jenny. Field, hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm old, but I'm alert. And but anyway, I haven't. I'm not dodging any questions. So if you have a question for me, let me attempt to answer it if I can. Honestly.
Yes, I will. All right. My question is this. It's out of curiosity. I found you on YouTube about, I think, around 2019, and you were already doing your show on YouTube. And my question is this: how long before 2019, or when did you get started doing your show? I know I was curious about that, and also, if I may say, I looked for your picture. Your I had asked you to, if I could have a picture of you, back when you kind of got started with the military and everything. And so I've been looking for it, but I didn't see it. But I was also curious about, when did you get started on your show on YouTube? Because I only found you around 2019, I think. Thank you.
Yeah, that's sort of a lot of questions in one mouthful. But I started speaking with a friend that I've actually met before he died, David Hawkins, and we started being active in doing shows. I think on the 7th of September of 2011, maybe even earlier than that. But see, I try to keep up with what's going on. So, and I don't speak from notes because if I had notes, I'd have writer's cramp and I'd become disabled. I mean, not necessarily. I'm not going to become mentally disabled. There's people out there that wish I would, because I go after people according to Ephesians 5:11, where it says to all of us, to all humans, have nothing to do with the evil deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. So that was the first scripture that caused me to believe that God wanted me to use some of my forensic skills to expose bad people. And I have. And I could rattle off some names, but I've done it already. But if anybody ever wondered why George H.W. Bush and Senator John McCain from Arizona were not allowed to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery, I'm the answer to that, because I wrote a letter to Donald John Trump and his military white hat community and said both of my parents were buried, and I'm using my words carefully. They were buried at Arlington National Cemetery because they were both World War II veterans, but their remains are not there anymore, not in any recognizable fashion. And so thank God, literally, I'm thanking God right now that he allowed George H.W. Bush and John McCain to be prevented from being buried in Arlington, because I personally objected to that potential abuse. And that might sound like I'm bragging or I think I've got some power. No, I don't have any power, but God asked me in Ephesians 5:11 and in Psalm 94:16, and that's a long one. So if you want to settle down after this radio show and you have a Bible or you have a cell phone with Google, you can just put in Psalm PSALM 94:16 and read it for yourself. And it basically, and I don't like to paraphrase the Bible. I think that's a bad idea. But since there's 100 countries listening to us right now, I'll just go ahead and shorten this up by saying that in Psalm 94:16, God's looking down from the sky over Sodom and Gomorrah, and he's asking an open question to anybody who might get his words. Who will take on the evildoers in the world for me? Who will go after these wicked ones? And I read that a couple of times, and I couldn't get over the fact that I thought God was asking me to do it. And of course, that's rather overwhelming, you know, the first time you consider that possibility. But I took that project on and I met some resistance. And I had people, well, I had four murder threats active in 2019. And you guys can hear my voice. It's my voice is loud. It's loud and lucid here in 2026. And as many of the listeners know, on the 4th of November of 2019, I was arrested by 17 police officers at 401 Main Street in Plum City, Wisconsin. Plum City has a population of roughly 600 people. And so for the Pierce County Sheriff's Office to send 17 police officers and 5 police marked vehicles to my office at 401 Main Street at around 1 p.m. When I walked up to my office just before 1 p.m. to go on a radio show, my own radio show called Abel Danger, ABEL, which there's also an ABLE Danger, which is a Army, United States Army office. And, you know, ABEL, that's me. Abel Danger is Field Mcconnell, because David Hawkins died a couple of years ago. And then, of course, my wife died 5 years ago. And so here I am, still alive and kicking. And, you know, I like all the references to God that I hear on Jenny's show, because if anybody on the dark side doesn't get it, I work directly for God, and He has not allowed me to become a victim yet. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. Stephanie, did that answer your questions?
Yes, thank you, Field. Thank you for doing God's work. I so appreciate you, and God bless you both. Thank you.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Stephanie.
much. Yeah, thank you very much, Stephanie. And God has blessed me abundantly, and I could rattle off all the blessings of which I'm aware, but I don't want to waste people's time, because I think more blessings are coming. And I think that Jenny's show is going to help more blessings come from God to all of us people on earth, whether we are white or black or yellow or brown, or if we are living in Africa or Central Europe or Eastern Asia or the Pacific or North America. You know, we have abundant blessings coming. And I think that between Jenny and myself, and maybe some of the other people that participate, well, like Mark Levy, and let me think of what her name is. Yes, Cal.
Cal.
Yeah, there's people that, did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, good. Yeah. You know, there's plenty of believers in this collection of personalities that can lead people to Jesus Christ and to assure people that God is going to protect us going forward. And one of the first people that I did a one-on-one rescue of was my wife, Denise. And I've said this before on Jenny's show, but it's very important. In 2015, specifically April of 2015, I was visiting Denise Irene Clark at her home at her invitation. I didn't show up and say, "I'm Field Mcconnell, can I come in?" No, that's not the way it works. she invited me to come to her home. And at that time, I was, pardon my voice, I was retired from Northwest Airlines, and I could travel at a modest cost. And so I went over to Heathrow, and she met me at the reception hall. And I didn't know what she looked like, but because I was doing a video, YouTube, every, I think, 3 days a week, she knew what I looked like. And so she told me that she was 5'3", she had blonde hair, and she'd be wearing a white knit winter cap. So when I got out of customs and then I entered the reception hall, right in front of me, I saw this blonde woman that was about 5'3", and she had a white knit winter hat on. And I stopped in my tracks and I looked straight up and I said, "Thank you." And I was thanking God, not even knowing how it would all end up. But it all ended up in my fourth marriage, which was the only marriage that lasted. It lasted until she went to heaven, and I told her how to get there. And I know that she listened to me, because when I got home from false imprisonment, and I was never in prison, by the way, I was in jail, same difference. I was confined. And when I got home, I was too weak to go up my own stairway going forward, so I had to sit on my rear end and scoot up backwards. And then I had to crawl to my bedroom. And then I had to try to figure out how to get up on my bed because it was pretty high off the floor. And that was a challenge. But it was a challenge I could overcome. And when I got up on my bed and turned the bedside light on, I saw 2 Bibles that hadn't been there when I was arrested. And so I saw Denise's reading glasses. And so I knew that Denise had gone to heaven and that I'd had the privilege of telling her how to get there. And I'm sorry that my voice is breaking, but every time I think about how God blessed me with Denise, I just sort of fall apart. So I'll stop right there and say over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Fields. Okay, let's see. I think it was Johnny Lang is next. We got a few more questions for you, Fields. So go ahead, Johnny Lang. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Johnny. If not, I'll be moving on. Okay, we are all Trumps today. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, come back up here, Johnny Lang. I did hear you. Okay, go ahead. Try again. Go ahead, Johnny.
Can you
Your
hear
mic.
me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I haven't been on the show in a little while, and I'm sorry. I know I sound horrible, but I've been very sick with respiratory situations, but nice to be on again. Field, I had a question for you. I was wondering if you could share with me, everybody could, man, my voice wasn't quite this bad earlier. You know how everybody can point to certain instances in their life where things didn't quite add up? And where I'm going with this is, I was wondering if you could share with the audience things that you saw perhaps in your early military career or in your early life. I mean, prior to 9/11, where you kind of tilted your head like, boy, that doesn't seem right. I didn't know that. Or, you know, um, maybe something to do with planes that you didn't know about, or just something of that nature, things you found out in the military that made you start believing that things weren't what they said they were. Thank you, sir.
Oh, no, Johnny Lang, how about if I bring up the subject of UFOs?
That'd be wonderful. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Well, actually it was one night in probably 1983 or 84, I was on a military exercise flying an F-4 Phantom. There were 3 of us Phantoms airborne. Let me think if there were 3 or 6. Yeah, no, there were actually 6 of us F-4s in racetrack patterns north of Winnipeg, Manitoba, in Canada, and we were protecting 1, 2, 3 lanes, which is like a racetrack. And at some point, the aircraft that I was in, my backseater, who was the radar intercept officer, that's a Navy term or Marine term, or the Air Force term is WSO, Weapon System Operator. And he told me, take a look at the radar, and what do you see at 12 o'clock and 30 miles or whatever it was? And I said, oh yeah, I see it. It's a contact. I said, any idea what it is? And he said, no, I don't. Why don't we try to run on it? Which means go intercept it. And so I, being the pilot, maybe they should be more selective of who they hire to be pilots. I lit both afterburners and I made a open communication on the channel we were all 6 aircraft on. And I said, this is Mike Papa 03. I'm running on an unknown contact, my 12 o'clock at 30 miles, and I'm going 1,600 miles an hour. And this contact is walking away from me, which means he was going faster than 1,600 miles an hour. Well, I never got close. And what I would have done if I got close, because this was a training exercise, not a live fire exercise, I taped what I was doing and took it back to the ground. And if it had been a live fire exercise and I could have caught up with this contact, and if I could not identify it positively, which I believe I could have because I didn't always play by the rules. Well, my job isn't to play by the rules, never was. My job was to defend America, and my job is also to defend children and defend, people that can't defend themselves, and that's what I do. And so, anyway, this UFO, whatever it was, and if I had to guess, I would guess it was either a U.S. or a Canadian experimental aircraft that was testing our ability. But I and my aircraft did not have the ability to close, gain position on this UFO. And so I lost the contact and I gave up the intercept. But I find UFOs to be one of 2 types of entities. They can be friendly or they can be hostile. And if there's hostile UFOs coming into North American airspace, which involves Canada and the United States, between the Canadians and the Americans, we collectively have the wherewithal to blow them out of the sky. But we have to be dispatched with that mission to identify the UFO, and then we have to gain a visual, meaning an eyeball. And so fortunately, when intercepts are conducted on unknown flying objects, there's always at least 2 aircraft, and one of the 2 aircraft has to get in close to the UFO, the unidentified flying object, and visually confirm if it's hostile or if it's friendly. And that's done by hand signals. And in the days of the F-4, we had a bright light on the right side of our aircraft, I believe. And and see, it's so long ago. I haven't flown an F4 since 1990, but that was called a VID light, which stands for Visual Identification Light. And, in the mission that I was on, I didn't have a weapon. It was just, it was a training exercise, and I couldn't conclude the exercise in a successful manner. But that's an interesting story that I'm related to. But in the 38 years that I was flying airplanes, I've got a lot of interesting stories, and many of them are less professional than the one I just explained, because it was never my ambition to be the most professional fighter pilot in the Air Force inventory. It was my ambition to be the most effective. And I don't know if I was or I wasn't, but I know I was working towards that goal. And on the internet right now, there's a YouTube that is the lowest air refueling in history. And it can be found by searching my name and F4 Phantom and Canton, Texas, and world's lowest air refueling. And if anybody from a military fighter background were to see that YouTube, they'd shake their head because they would think that could not have been done. But I did it. It's on videotape. And that videotape was shot back in the early to mid 80s. So anyway, my life has been very interesting. And somewhere late in my life, God reached out to me with Ephesians 5:11 and Psalm 94:16 and said, basically, he said, I sort of like the way you operate, and I'd like you to operate along with me to expose evil and to protect children. And that's what I've been doing for a long time. Thank you for the question. And over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Johnny. All right, let's see. We are all Trumps today. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. We are all Trumps today. I think I said that right. We are all Trumps today. Your mic is unmuted. All right, Curly, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you? I was.
Go
talking.
ahead.
This is We Are All Trumps Today. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
So I am homeschooling my child, who is now 17 years old, and I have to tell you, it's been a struggle in making sure that I'm teaching him truth. And my question is, and of course, there's a lot of sources that I can go to, but is there a source that you would recommend that I go to teach him the true history? And then also, along with that, the truth about our world that we live in, this space and the firmament and all of that. Thank you.
Okay, what was the last words before you said thank you? Was it firmament?
Correct.
Okay, in what context did you use that word?
Meaning, I guess my confusion is that the way that people refer to space is actually inaccurate
Yeah.
to what our true world is. So that is the context in which I'm talking about the firmament. I mean, the Bible talks about the firmament, and I always go back to that source. But to try to teach my 17-year-old, and my husband is a physicist, I get a lot of pushback when I try to talk in those terms.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of us Christians have had similar experiences because people, to a large degree, uh, American people, which are the people that I'm the most aware of, they really don't want to know the truth, and it's very difficult for them to even consider the truth. So concern yourself with your 17-year-old, there's nothing wrong with your 17-year-old at all. It's just he's like a lot of Americans. Uh, the truth is sort of hard to handle at first, but I might turn this over to Jenny and see if she can lead you towards the truth. But I'll take a stab at it. I think if you were to order, in fact, I could order them for you, so you don't have to pay for them. But I hope you heard that, Jenny. If she wants 4 books of mine, then rest assured I will pay you before you ship them to this lady with a son. If he's 17 and he's got average reading skills, which is unknown to me, but he may enjoy reading the books I've written because they're full of true history, even if they're also full of some humor. But, to be honest with everyone about me, doing what I do, it's very discouraging to be from a background where I took 4 oaths to defend the U.S. Constitution against all entities, foreign and domestic. And then I find out that a lot of the attacks on America have been done by other people who have taken constitutional oaths. And it's just something that troubles me. But Jenny, if this lady gets a hold of you and would like 4 books, tell me what I owe you, and that would include what I owe you for shipping. And I'll stand behind my books. And I don't know what the 17-year-old boy wants to do with his life, but if he reads my story, because I don't embellish much, I probably embellish a little, but my story is quite interesting, but it's also verifiable, and
I would be
it's
happy
very.
to buy your books. I would love to buy your books. I want to support your efforts, and I am happy to pay for those books. And it's been a long time since I listened to Jenny, just because I've been in the weeds and and homeschooling and working and all this. But I would have, if you'll post the link, Jenny, maybe, so I can get a hold
Yeah,
of those
it's
books.
on
That'd
the
be great.
wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's right above. You'll see my picture on the wall because I just posted something regarding the elections, and it's literally the post right above that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And he has excellent reading skills, by the way, but the pushback is more from my physicist husband, who goes back to the science and talks in calculations and all of that, which, of course, math is important, but it's frustrating for me to try to share things that either I hear on Jenny's podcast or other sources, and I get real excited and I want to share, and then I get pushback from my husband, who is also a Christian, but there's always that pushback. Well, this is what science says, and I don't. My background is not in science, so even though I'm very versed in it, it's hard to argue when he has the degree and he is. I don't want to say he's arrogant about it. He's just, well, I'm the one that studied this. Do you think that I learned wrong, etc.? Sorry, I'll let you talk. Sorry.
Yeah, he's talking down to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what type of a man talks down to his wife? You're making me cry. You're teaching me what so many wives have to deal with: disrespectful husbands. Why can't husbands learn to love their wives? And I should have said wives, Wives. And I'm crying now because it's been a little over 5 years ago that my wife died, and I never got to say goodbye to her because some people with advanced educations prevented me from being allowed to travel from where I was incarcerated in Florida to come home to Wisconsin to say goodbye to my wife before she died. And I even had a notarized letter from a 30-year medical professional who said to the judge, and let me think of the judge's name. Uh, hmm, Fortunately for him, I can't remember his name right now, but I've written about him, and he wouldn't let me come home to say goodbye to my wife, even though he had the equivalent of an education similar to your husband's. I don't care what a man's education is. Does he ever have permission to talk down to his wife? I don't think so. In the book of Ephesians, somewhere, it says, uh, that we, male and female alike, are only supposed to say what's useful for lifting up the spirits of the other party. And, I think that that the type of education I'm trying to espouse is biblical education. And if it says um, we should only say what's useful for lifting up the spirits of other people, certainly that would include men lifting up the spirits of their wife, WIFE. And in my experience, I was married 3 times, all ending in divorces, where the petitioners, 3 of them, were looking for money. Well, why didn't they just ask me or tell me when I asked them to marry me that they would try to take money from me someday? I would have said, oh, well, cancel my request. I don't want to marry you. But then, God presented me with Denise Irene Clark. And that's why I stopped in my tracks when I came out of the Heathrow Customs clearance office, and I walked out into the reception hall, and I took one look at Denise and I said, thank you. And under my breath, I said, thank you, Lord. And that's because God is my Lord and my Savior. And that's not a boast. I mean, who boasts about what God has done? God found me and reached down and saved me. And I didn't save myself. I couldn't save myself. But God took pity on me and he saved me. And then I spent 5.5 years that were the most pleasant 5.5 years of my life with my wife, Denise Irene Clark Mcconnell. Over to you, Jenny, or the
Thank you.
lady that had the question.
Thank you, Fields. I've got to. I'm going to take one more question. So, Cal and Mark Levy, I apologize. I've got another show coming up right now that I need to start getting ready for with John Baxter. So, Colorado Carol Curley, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Field your question, and we'll round it out with your question. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Field. I was going to ask a question, but I'm just going to dovetail off of what Field said about when he met his wife for the first time in physicality, if that's a word. And he looked up to the sky and thanked God. I have this intense feeling that we're all going to have very sore necks because we're going to be very soon also. We're going to be looking up to the sky with so many thank yous to God. And that's what I would like to end with. So thank you so much, Field.
Thank you, Carol. And everybody here, Field is here with us every Monday. We had a bit of a shift this week just because, obviously family and work and all that stuff comes first. So I had family in town on Monday, so hence why I didn't have any shows on Monday. But come back here, guys. We have John Baxter in the next 30 minutes, so I got to get set up for John. But Field, we'll see you next Monday. Press your blue mic. He'll be here next Monday, everybody.
Yes, I'll be here next Monday at 12 o'clock, and I'll practice hitting my green button instead of my blue button.
Thank you, Phil. God bless you, my friend. We'll talk on the backside. And everybody here, have a great day. Have a great Friday the 13th. Great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there. Enjoy your Valentine. And we'll see you here for Mark Levy. Mark Levy, I'm looking at your name right now. For John Baxter, I apologize. And we'll see you guys here in a little bit. God bless you all. Take care. Thank you, Field.
You're welcome, Jenny. God bless you. Bye-bye.